of knowledge and attitude and practices toward Guinea worm among the residents of Juba County in South Sudan. Uh, Although I have my presentation is full of is a little bit huge, but I'm going to summarize so that I at least most of the information that I have I could share with you. Abstract stroke summary. Dracunculosis is one of the oldest diseases known to man, although it is not a killer disease, but its high morbidity and complication found mostly in farming population. Its health and social education and economic costs to the individual and the household and the community, which is considerable, and its transmission cycle are well documented in the study. The key intervention studies strategies to eradicate Guinea worm are safe water supply and vector control by using a bait. My study objective was to determine the knowledge and attitude practices towards Guinea worm in Juba and South Sudan. The study was a cross-sectional study. I used both quantitative and qualitative studies methods to collect the data, and the quantitative was I used a semi-structured questionnaire, and the key informant I used a selective purpose with the key expert who have knowledge about the Guinea worm prevention program and share also knowledge with many of the experts around the agencies in Juba and abroad. The result, more than a quarter of the respondents or relatively have ever fallen victim of the Guinea worm in Juba County. A large proportion of the respondents perceived drinking infected water was the cause of infection, like 55% of the respondents. Most of the respondents obtained drinking water from rivers, streams, and pools, and that consists of 43% of the population that we interviewed. Most respondents say that someone with Guinea worm has very much difficulties in farming, which means the Guinea worm is affecting the population that are affected by affecting their economical and livelihood activities. Conclusion, a large proportion of respondents infected with the Guinea worm, and more than a quarter of the respondent family member fallen victim with the Guinea worm. In general, the knowledge and attitudes and practices of respondents in Juba County, in addition to other confounding factors, have had impact on Guinea worm eradication program. Recommendation, both focus and integrated behavior change communication activities need to be emphasized to the residents of Juba County in South Sudan so that we eradicate the Guinea worm. So again, I go ahead to introduction. As I mentioned, the dracunculosis is the disease that is, or the parasite that causes the Guinea worm, and is the oldest disease known, although it's not a killer disease, but the disease is highly morbidated and complications found mostly in farming population. Social and educational and economical costs to individual is well documented. Household and the communities, which are considerable, and its transmissions cycle are well documented. The key intervention strategies is to eradicate Guinea worm as provision of water supply, clean and safe water supply, plus the vector or integrated vector control activities by using a bait. Health education and case management is the key, as reported by many scholars. Go to problem statement. Statement of the problem. The protracted war in South Sudan lead to collapse of the health system and infrastructure. And that also caused that many, after the war and after the peace, many people are coming back to the country, but they found that the services are not in place. So many people go to the area where there are no water supply, no good hygiene, no good sanitation, and that also caused that increase the cases of guinea worm in South Sudan. In 2009, on 2009, the 73% of the all guinea worm cases around the world was reported in South Sudan. Ministry of Health and other agencies are trying to, they did a lot of efforts to crippling, did a lot of effort to improve the life of the people who are affected and to reduce the infection spread of the diseases by introducing more activities to the community, and also CDC makes some researches, but all those efforts was not gain a lot since the target that was made by eradicating guinea worm in South Sudan in 2010 was not met. Therefore, in trying to solve the problem, uh, country, Ministry of Health, partners, and NGOs for the community ownership of the resources has tried to increase the community mobilization for the health and targeting special opinion leaders. This effort, however, has not also changed the situation much. Therefore, the study is needed to carry out to find out the factors that lead to occurrence of the diseases. So by doing this research, I was trying to address the question such as what are the factors that are responsible for the high prevalence of guinea worm in South Sudan? What is the knowledge of the respondents toward guinea worm? And what are the attitudes of respondents to guinea worm? And what are the practices of respondents toward guinea worm? The general objective, as I mentioned earlier, it was to determine the knowledge and attitude and practices toward guinea worm, but the specific objectives was to determine the demographic profile of the respondent, so that I also use that to design and assist and support the Ministry of Health to design a strategic plan to eradicate guinea worm. The second objective was to assess the level of knowledge and practices toward prevention of guinea worm in South Sudan. The third one, to determine the attitude of the respondents toward guinea worm. By doing this research, I believe that this research will assist in finding of the knowledge and attitude practices survey, will support the development of the sound evidence base for the Ministry of Health and NGOs to use as a tool to establish a framework to eradicating guinea worm in South Sudan. Communication strategies and sector-specific intervention for behavior change in the epidemic village is one of the things that my research will help into assisting the decision makers to make that communication strategy. The study will also support the surveyor and instrumental serve as a instrument for planning for the line Ministry of Goals, so that they can plan. The survey also will significantly contribute to development of the long-term sustainable program intervention that will influence the guinea worm eradication program in operation state. The methodology, as I mentioned, I used the population of Central Equatoria State and County, Juba County, and it was a cross-sectional research. Both quantitative and qualitative method was used. For the questionnaire, I developed the questionnaire in both Arabic and English, because some of the respondents only study in Arabic and some in English. So we used both the Arabic questionnaire and English questionnaire. And the assistant researcher, sorry, excuse me, assistant researcher were trained on how to administer those questionnaires, and the population involved was 138. household from Juba County, and the study units was the head of the household for their spouse at Juba County. I also did a pre-test to confirm that the questionnaire and identify, and every evening we used to come and sit down with the assistant researchers so that we see the progress of the administrators of the research. The result, a large proportion of respondents perceive that health workers, all the key informants, no, let me start from the beginning. All the key informants mentioned that the local name for Guinea worm was known as a Kiringit or Mikeke. That was one of the findings from key informants, and we found that a large proportion, like 43% of the respondents got the information of Guinea worm from health workers, and about the quarter, more than quarter, from the relatives, and most of the respondents mentioned that pain and swelling of the limbs are the symptoms of the Guinea worm. In analysis of the results, we found that education levels was found to be strongly associated with the knowledge on the causes of infection of Guinea worm, and that by using the p-value and the chi-square analysis. Most of the respondents obtained the drinking water from rivers which are not treated, followed by more than a quarter from the pools. And as I mentioned above, that still after the signing of the peace in South Sudan, there was a lot of lack of infrastructure in terms of health, in terms of development. So many communities do not have safe, clean water, and that's why also increases the cases of Guinea worm. Go ahead. Many respondents say that conducting meetings with the communities and will encourage community to participate in eradication program. That was a 37%, followed by the mass awareness campaign, which is 33%. In discussion, the study revealed that majority of the respondents have heard about Guinea worm because the existence of local name by the key informants. Few respondents, or relatively 36%, have fallen victim of the Guinea worm. It's similar to what other researchers have found reportedly in other countries were before. On education level, 51% of the respondents attended school, at least up to primary. And this could have got the information, those could have got the information about Guinea worm from the health workers at school health program. Some respondents have got the information from political and civil leaders, the media like radios and television, as well as other community through certain sharing experience. To continue with the discussion, because I say I have much, but I will try to summarize. The period of absence of the farm may be longer, where the both parents and children are infected with the disease. So this again, I was talking about the economic impact of the disease to the family, because once they are sick, then they will not attend to their farms, and that will affect their livelihood. The study showed that majority of respondents perceive the Guinea worm eradication program as being useful. That was 96% of the respondents. This may be explained by the fact that
Sebit,
yes,
sorry for the interruption.
yes,
Uh, yeah, you have 2 minutes more. Kindly conclude, please. You have two
okay,
minutes more. Yeah,
yes,
and you kindly
yeah.
conclude.
The key conclusion from my research is that the study shown that because government of South Sudan targeted that 2009 will be the eradication deadline to stop transmission of the remaining epidemic communities in South Sudan, but that was not met in 2009 due to several factors that are lack of availability of safe water and lack of health education communication program to put a lot of awareness to the community. Therefore, in recommendation and future steps, both focused and integrated health education by the health worker need to be emphasized to stressing the importance of Guinea worm eradication program. The Minister of Health should ensure that health workers change their behavior towards the respondent, and that will happen only after making Minister of Health making a lot of supportive supervision program and the checklist and quality checklist to availability of staff and infrastructure in the health facility in the counties and in the country. The county health department team seriously efforts should be made to ensure comprehensive hydrogeological analysis for the sustainability of borehole, which will can enhance uninterruptible water supply. However, where the cost of sinking a borehole is unbearable, field health workers should ensure that the ponds are regularly treated with a bed or provide filter for the staff which are moving around or the cattle keepers plus the local community. The state authority should strategically encourage activities that lead to upskill the education level of the respondent in the area. And thank you very much. That's the key summaries and the key points of my study. And I hope that I was very clear to express my point. Thank you very much.